gonna be like, I can't hear me anyway.
Good morning, guys. Jeremy Larkin here. Live at Larkin Group headquarters. So fun. We are on the radio. So, we'll have to reiterate this for probably a couple of months to really nail it home for people. But we're actually live on the radio with you. But we are at Larkin Group headquarters. We're over there at the old Cameo Florist building. That's what we refer to it as, the old Cameo Florist building. Legacy Corner is the name of the building these days, with the big old cool mural. Jesse and I, my business partner, by the way, thanks for being here, brother.
You bet, man. Sorry I missed last week.
Yep.
I was up in the cool country of Star Valley.
Man, I'm envious. Although our friends here at Blueform Media that are helping us produce this live from the office said that they want it to be hot. I think they're sadistic, sick people. We're going through what I've talked about to be Fool's Fall. Fool's Fall. We had Fool's Fall. Fool's Fall was 2 weeks ago, and we have it every year. Although this is extreme. Fool's Fall being what it sounds like, where everyone says, "Oh, it's fall," pumpkin spice time, and then it's terrible. So I was walking. Jesse and I are walking back from Morty's. Ran up to Morty's on the corner here of the boulevard. And just as we approached our building, with this big mural on the side, guys, at the corner of University or 700 East, University and Tabernacle, I just said, how cool is this building?
It's way cool.
We're pretty darn lucky. We are really, really, really lucky to do what we do. I'm going to kill that share for just a minute, guys. Jeremy Larkin, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. Jesse Paul, we're with the Larkin Group at Keller Williams Realty. We have to say KW Realty at some level, at some way. That is our legal disclosure. If you can imagine that our industry that I want to love, I want to support, they're often more concerned about whether we disclose that we were with a real estate brokerage, they being the Utah Real Estate Commission and the industry at large, than whether we're like giving proper care to our clients. And they would say that's not true, but I'm not afraid to say that on the air. It's kind of aggravating. So we're with Keller Williams Realty. By the way, we're real estate agents. I mean, as though you didn't know that.
Yeah. Was there any doubt?
So in a famous story where I had an agent complain because one of their former clients whose home they didn't sell received one of my postcards. This is so great. It was a 9 postcard series. Mm-hmm. And the 9 postcard series was a piece of direct mail to people who were frustrated sellers. So we specialize, by the way, if you're a home seller and you've had your home on the market and it didn't sell, I'm not soliciting any active listing. I cannot solicit an active listing. I've never solicited an active listing. But if you've been on the market and your home's come off the market and you're going, I can't sell it, I guess I missed the market. We specialize in taking properties like yours, doing a really thorough audit. There's actually 9, 10 kind of categories that I like to look at, and there's these elements that need to be there. And there are 3 categories, 9 or 10 elements that need to be in place for a successful, profitable sale. And we specialize in like recreating buyer interest and selling the home, and honestly within 60 days. So I was sending these postcards out. 1 of 9 postcards was missing our logo. A realtor somewhere who was not happy that I was sending these postcards out made a complaint to the Utah Division of Real Estate.
Oh, about your logo. Yeah.
I ended up in a hearing. A hearing. Do you think the consumer, after they got the other 8 postcards, didn't know that I was a real estate agent? All right, guys. I don't know.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
These are the things that we deal with. All right, look, we are in an absolute market shift. And it needs to be stated as such. It needs to not be understated. And our job is to help you navigate and manage your wealth in real estate. And so let's fiddle around with this for a minute, shall we? Most economists expect 2 rate cuts this year, Jesse. all the economists, 16% said 0 to 1 cut. 73% said 2 rate cuts. 11% said we're going to get 3 rate cuts. You know, a couple of weeks ago we defined the difference between a the federal funds rate versus mortgage rates.
Yeah.
So a lot of our listeners, and honestly a lot of realtors, amazingly, they don't know that mortgage rates change every single day. So the federal funds rate is like this gigantic target rate that affects so many elements. You know, what you earn. What's that,
You're not
Jesse?
sharing the data you're going through.
You are. I'm producing, so
Yeah.
I gotta be on Jeremy.
Yeah. I stopped it because Jesse was telling me I wasn't sharing. I'm like, I am sharing.
You're good. I'm just on Jeremy, so the Zoom call's showing.
Yeah, we're good, Jesse. He was nuts. Who knows? There's probably a delay there, bro.
Big one. Okay.
So, you know, the federal funds rate it affects what you pay on your credit cards and your auto loans and your home equity lines of credit. It also affects what you get paid on a savings account. Yeah, Jesse, Jesse's so delayed on Facebook, Blake, he still doesn't see the share.
Yeah, it's because you're talking a lot, so I'm on you.
How weird, huh?
Producing.
Yeah.
Jesse, you gotta.
That's all right.
Yeah, you probably have to hop into Zoom with us. Jesse's having a moment. We're all having a moment.
Well, it's kind of like when we first started, you would talk to me from way across the room, and I'm like, it doesn't matter if I answer, they can't hear me.
That's why you got to be in Zoom.
So I'll get in Zoom.
So, guys, pardon our technical difficulties, but mortgage rates are different, and mortgage rates, they're changing all the time. One of our great lenders, Tyler Slesk, great partner to the Larkin Group. He's with Gold Star Mortgage. Tyler has been sending us a mortgage rate update every day. Literally, guys, it changes every single day. So let's talk about what's happening. I want to switch screens. If you're watching us, guys, you can see us at facebook.com/St. George Experts. That's St. George Experts. I want to tell you what's happening. I'm sharing a graph right now, and this graph, if we look at the number of active, well, this is pending listings. That's the not number of active listings.
Well, go down to the bottom.
Yeah.
And click on active.
Yeah, there we go. Thank you. I was on the wrong page. I want people to see something that's happened. Between June of 2024 and the end of September 2024, we have in Washington County. Now, by the way, this is Washington County. These are single-family condos, townhomes, modular manufactured homes, residential. This is Washington County. Now, to be clear, if you hop on like GoStGeorge.com, GOSTGeorge.com, our website, and you start searching the multiple listing service, if you don't tell it, hey, I only want to see Washington County, you're going to find that there are listings all over Iron County that are on our multiple listing service. Salt Lake.
Kanab.
Yeah. So qualifying this as Washington County. In June, we had 970 active listings under this qualification. By the end of September, we were at 1,351.
And normally this time of year, that number drops.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's dramatic. Go ahead, Jesse.
Yeah, so typically this time of year, our number of active listings will go down, not up, as we slow down for the holiday season.
Yeah.
And so I think normally we would see 800-900 during this time.
Yeah.
September, October, November. So for that to skyrocket like that to 1,300 is interesting. And that's only that's only residential, not lots.
Building lots.
No
I think
lots.
the number one group that should be paying attention to this are realtors. So if you're a realtor and you're not paying attention to this, the interesting thing, Jesse, is with enough time in the business, you start to sniff stuff out. And Jesse can corroborate my story. Then last month I said, what did I say?
You said inventory skyrocketing.
I said inventory skyrocketing, and the data was not showing it yet.
You started about 3 or 4 weeks ago.
And the inventory and the data hadn't quite reflected it.
Yeah.
Here's why.
It's true.
I felt it. And I know that sounds whacked out, crazy woo-woo, like, what are you guys on over there? Well, we like to do some shrooms in the morning, Blake and Mal, before we start the day. You want to ease into the day, but
I
truthfully,
actually say this all the time. I'm going to try to be careful how I say this. The importance of working with somebody that is actually doing some business is if you're not actively listing properties,
talking to people, working full time in the business,
what's going on, you'll look at the market data and it fully looks like a full-on seller's market. Now, if you're working, if you're not working in it, if you're actually talking to sellers and you're listing properties and you know that the actual buyer behavior is the opposite.
Yeah, it
has been for a couple years.
Correct. We were just having a conversation this morning. We've got a half dozen clients that we're representing right now, listing, with their listings right this minute, who all need a price reduction.
Yep.
They need a price reduction to fall in line with what the market demands are.
Yeah, because people are not going to listings and making offers when they're overpriced.
They're not.
I mean,
Jesse,
typically
listen,
don't.
Look, I need to leave some wiggle room. I want to be able to negotiate. Can't you just tell them to make an offer?
I could, but they don't. Here's what's interesting, Jeremy.
They don't.
Here's what's interesting. When we look at that, once a listing hits the right price, the price when it gets an offer, sellers are actually getting 98.9.
Oh, is it 98.9?
98.9% of the asking price.
Gosh.
Here's the problem. Before that, if they get an offer from their original price, that number is 96.
Okay, I want to talk about this. I want to slow down. Okay. So
Explain
Jesse
what that
sometimes
means.
unravels into jargon. And if people are listening, Jesse, they just went cross-eyed and turned it over.
That's why
they decided to turn it over to like a long-form commercial on prostate medicine. Okay, so let's come back for just a minute. Let's slow down.
Let's do it.
So you're welcome, Blake. I saw that little grin.
He's got to do that to me because I go crazy.
So if you're watching, this is what you want to watch, guys. Facebook.com/St. George Experts. I just so recommend, if you're not driving a car, that you should be watching this. So what we're looking at are two lines on a graph. And when he talks about list to sell, what he means is this. What percentage of what you were asking, right, Jesse?
Yep.
By the way, the guy's an expert at what he does, but we need to help people graphically understand this.
So if what this means is if you were asking $100,000 for your house, the list to sell ratio, you would have gotten 98.9.
Yeah, $98,900.
900.
By the way, in my career, there were homes selling for $100,000. Absolutely.
Right. So,
okay. And by the way, do you know what that was? Does anybody want to know what that was? I started in 2005.
2012.
Yep.
2011.
It was actually, guys, it was 2011. So it was at the bottom of the market after the mortgage meltdown. So, I mean, by the way, I don't mean all homes were 100,000, but there were plenty of homes.
Yeah.
Okay. So what we're talking about is this. If you look at this, Jesse, help me understand the sale to list price ratio, the sale to original list price. Perfect. So here's what's happening. A lot of people reducing their price.
We have more price reductions now than we've had in history.
In history.
There is so many, because there's that gap, right? There's that 3% gap. If buyers aren't coming at your original asking price, you have to go find them, or what's the result? You end up with a home not sold.
But could I not, if I'm a seller, could I not just wait out for a motivated buyer?
You could. The challenge with that is you're going to end up getting less money in the end.
Yeah.
Because and we talked about this a while ago too. If a seller can actually step out of the emotion of being a seller and think of their home as if they were the buyer, they could see the mistake in that. Because after 30 days, every buyer walks in and say, "Hey, what's wrong with this house?
Yep.
Why hasn't it sold?" And it changes their brain, the way they look at the house.
And they ask us questions like, Oh, it was listed for 500. Think I could get this for 450.
Yep.
They start to ask this. So what we're indicating is this. When you look at this graph, we have two lines on here. One is the list to sell ratio if they didn't to the original price. So on average, people are getting about 96% of what they were asking originally. Right. But once they get the home price correctly, they get 99%.
Right. So you don't, what this means is you don't have to leave room for negotiation.
1%. So what we're saying is on average, there was a 1.1% negotiation that happened.
That is hardly any, like it's hardly anything when you think of the scheme of things.
I'm going to show you something. The interesting thing is that clear back in 22, this looked different. And this looked different because we were at the very end of the COVID market. And so what I mean by that is in May of 2022, people were getting 101% still of their original asking price. And they're getting 101.3% of their reduced price. How long, Jesse, should it take if we're talking to a seller right now? If I'm a seller in Washington County, when my price is right, whether it's from the day one or I need to make a reduction, how long should it take to get an offer?
15 days.
15 days. By the way, I just saw my hat in the Zoom. This is a Dixie Flyers high school mountain biking team hat.
Nice.
Saturdays it's the last race of me coaching. Well, it's not the state championships is mid-October, but it's the last regular season race. I coached two boys, my sons, and then of course I coach other kids. But like 8 years I've been doing this, and so I decided to represent these kids today.
Is that race here in St. George?
No. So the Saturday we race in Gunnison of all places.
The championships.
The state championships is in Cedar City.
I was going to say we should ride that day in memory of my first ride.
Yeah,
I should show up with the Depends and
big
gilt jacket.
Honestly, it's a whole thing. You guys, there's such a story. I took him out on his first bike ride.
Man.
He showed up with a bag of Depend undergarments, teasing that he was going to use it to pat his butt. I don't even want to ask why he had them. He probably
I bought them just for that occasion.
He'd be like, okay, cool, that's fair.
Because I just wanted to have a good laugh.
Dressed like an absolute goon. It's okay. It's okay. So, but all these years later, the guy's a real mountain biker. So let's shift gears. So here's what we're saying. We've seen a dramatic increase in the number of available homes for sale.
Yeah.
Dramatic increase.
And that normally would be a good thing when you're in a market like we have been.
Well, it's a good thing for buyers.
It is. And it would be a good thing for everybody if at the same time the number of sales weren't dramatically going down. Mm-hmm. With that scenario, that tells us that over the next 3 or 4 or 5 months, there will be no choice but prices to adjust.
Prices have to come down.
They'll have to adjust because you can't have that much inventory, that fewer sales, and have prices stay the same or go up.
The number of sales decreased from May to June. June to July, it was static. July to August, it was static. It decreased greatly in September. Now, we'll see what happens in October because it's October 3rd.
Because in September, it looks like the number of pending sales went up a little bit.
Guys,
so hopefully that gets a little bit better.
Yeah, and look, we're talking about Washington County real estate. And the question has been asked, well, what about rate drops? We've had rate drops. Is this going to make a difference? Well, look, rates bumped up to almost 8% at one point. Right now, if you came in, they call it costs a point. I don't want to get into jargon, but it costs about, they talk about buying a rate down. 1 point to get a rate. You could get a conventional, regular old mortgage rate about 5.9%. You could actually go 5.5, 5.6 for an FHA loan, depending on incentives paid by sellers. So sellers, if you're listening, it's really important that you stay open to offering incentives to buyers to purchase your home. And I'm not talking about free refrigerators or trips to Aruba. I'm talking about buying the rate down, like a $5,000 to $10,000, just like a closing cost concession, right? Also, I'm telling you something right now. This is kind of a fun analogy. Last night, I was out with these high school mountain bike racers. We were out on what's called Turkey Farm Road. It's a famous old dirt road that people know about in our final 5 minutes that goes up out of the industrial park toward Pine Valley Mountain. Well, on our way back, we were in the very front of there's like 50 kids, but they're all broken up into 5 groups. So I was up there riding with my son, and I'd say fortunately we had the opportunity to ride with the fastest group, but unfortunately I had the opportunity to ride with the fastest group. And so, you get that little tongue in cheek. At the very end, we hopped into a line. They call it a pace line. If you're listening to this and you're thinking about selling your home, I want you to really focus. If like this is the most important thing you're going to get today. A pace line means that everybody gets in a line where one by one, you're right behind the other. We are going on mountain bikes on a gravel road. This isn't a paved road on road bikes with skinny tires. 32 miles per hour. We're holding 32. The pace is so fast that people are starting to get uncorked. I call it uncorked. If you don't stay within 18 inches of the wheel in front of you, which means you're afraid you're going to hit them, you'll get sucked off the back.
Yeah.
And afterwards, like I talked to one of my son's friends, they came over to my house and hopped in the cold plunge. It's like, I couldn't keep up. I got kicked out the back. Do you know how this is like selling a home right now? Ricky Bobby famously said in Talladega Nights, if you ain't first, you're last. That is, by the way, it was a very tongue-in-cheek satire movie, and it was very funny. Was it not, Blake? He's laughing. If you are selling a home and you wait, I will do it later. You have to be first. You have to reduce your price first. You have to set the price. You have to set the new price in your neighborhood first. If you don't,
right. Somebody
you
else
get
will.
sucked out the back. You get spit off the back, and then here's what happens. You can, like when I say when someone gets spit off of a line like that,
it's messy.
they'll be 100 yards behind in 5 seconds, and in 30 seconds, they'll never come back.
Yeah, the momentum is that powerful.
It's crazy, and so here's what I'm telling you.
What a good analogy.
Thank you.
Oh.
You have to be, guys, be first. Be first in your neighborhood. Mm-hmm. This is a classic, Jesse. Well, everybody in the neighborhood's been asking around $525. Great, you better be $499.
Yeah.
I don't care because here's the interesting part. I visited with the seller yesterday. Amazing woman, business owner, smart, driven, right? Well, they said, they had worked with a specific agent in the market who's going to go unnamed and like clear back in middle of summer. And then they said, we're going to try and work with maybe another agent and we're going to rent the home. And then they said about the original agent, they said, we really like this guy. You know what I didn't say? The guy, this is not a criticism. It's just, you were working with that agent in June. It's October 2nd, and we're having a conversation in your house. How's that working out for you, liking that guy? Home sellers, liking your agent is not a qualifier of them selling your home.
Yeah.
Being friends with them is not a qualifier of them selling your home. Do you get my point?
I do.
Oh, well, the neighbors are asking blank. It doesn't matter. How's that working out for you? The neighbors all still own their homes. The neighbors are
sold.
The neighbors are buying their home back from themselves daily.
Yeah.
Don't buy your home back.
A good example of that, I was talking to a guy yesterday, and he said, the homes down in this neighborhood are selling for 1.2.
Yeah.
And when I looked it up,
Famous
they were
last
actually
words.
expired listings. They didn't sell. And the last price was $999, and it still hadn't sold.
Oof.
So they were probably $250.
So he had
off.
seen a listing at 1.2.
Yep.
It was a powerful story for him to hold on to validate the fact that he wanted more. Guys,
and he doesn't have any of the. He doesn't know whether it sold or whether it didn't.
No, not at all. I'm going to leave you with something. We have 30 seconds. Do you know even at your new reduced price with the market making a shift right now, and I am talking that the market is making a shift.
Yeah.
If you've owned the home more than 3 years, you have won the lottery. If you've owned it 5+ years, I think Ed McMahon's going to show up with a big giant check on, if anyone knows who Ed McMahon
Won
is.
the Powerball.
Yeah. Well, this is pre-Powerball, man. That was Publishers Clearinghouse. If you've owned it 10 years, you can go back to, you can retire to Aruba. We've made 2 Aruba references. Jeremy Larkin, Jesse Paul with the Larkin Group, KW Realty. Guys, please hang on with us. We're actually going to move into a secondary amazing, we're going to share some amazing content with you the second we end on the radio. stay on facebook.com/St. George Experts, or reach out to us directly. Google the Larkin Group and say, guys, I need help. Please just give me like real guidance. It's the only kind we give, and we'll help you guys. All right, over and out.